What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Bona Fide Bullshit, the podcast. I'd like to welcome everybody to episode
19.
That is correct.
Your notes say 17, so it's awkward now.
I mean, that's just a headliner note. As long as we know it and our listeners know it, we're just one episode away from hitting episode 20.
20! Holy shit!
That is crazy.
Speaking of big numbers, today's a very special day. It's not a national holiday like it was last week.
It's a national family holiday. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But it is our eldest 14th birthday, which is crazy.
Cheers to you, bud. Cheers to you, to our oldest right there, Martin. Happy fucking birthday.
Happy fucking birthday, man.
Cheers there.
We love you so much. It's crazy. I can't even believe he's 14. I honestly don't even feel like old enough to have an almost high schooler. So it's so weird. And I think this morning I cried like half the morning. I think I just get so fucking sappy around our birthdays for numerous reasons. But I think we just have such a heavy history, and like it hits me every time it's his birthday. And,
it's so funny because I got a comment that was like, wait a second, wasn't it your wife's birthday? I've known you for a while, then I realized their birthdays are that close. I'm like, yep, they're literally a couple days apart.
Yep.
So it's like
my birthday's the 3rd.
Yeah.
And then I start getting super sappy because the day after my birthday, my first child, which was my dog, died March 4th, and then it's our oldest son's birthday, the 8th, today. So it's crazy. There's just a lot happening in March. We have more birthdays. I have my sister's birthday. We have my grandma's birthday. So March is just like a really fucking heavy month.
March is just a packed month. It reminds me of just like, when for me personally, it's like I gotta get into gear for your birthday, and then we kind of both switch gears in for our son's birthday. And then again,
and everything just happens so fast, It's like my birthday, and I'm in the midst of kind of enjoying like my birthday with my friends, and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get this ready, get this ready for Martin, and all these things, and it just like comes at you so.
It reminds me like the month of May, which May's our like wedding anniversary. It's Mother's Day. It's like shit.
It's our little one's birthday.
It's our little one's birthday, which I was gonna say. So it's like March and May, both months that happen to start with an M. Have so much action, whether it's just on a daily, financially, like all of the above.
It is. It's fucking financially heavy.
Yeah.
And I know you get really stressed out when it comes to my birthday because you feel like I have all these high expectations, which I do. So I understand. I have a lot of cake expectations.
The bar is just set so fucking
The bar has risen, over the last few years, as it should,
It's a habitual bar stepper.
Yeah. It went from like, maybe I'll buy her like a slice of cake to like buying me like an entire like Portillo's cake, which is still very good, to buying me a very custom cake from my favorite bakery.
Very fucking
Shout outs to Eye Candy. The fucking best.
Indeed.
My favorite. I've been eating it every day and I can fucking feel it, but it's my favorite.
Indeed. Shout outs to Eye Candy, Raina, and the whole crew out there.
Best.
Though that's obviously more local based, not to some of our listeners that are out of state.
Yeah.
But Eye Candy here, which is local based in Illinois.
Geneva, Illinois.
Yeah, they do a hell of a job. Latino owned, women owned, family owned. Like
oh my God,
they hit the trifecta.
You guys, they have fucking vegan, paleo, keto, gluten free, like whatever weird shit you got going on, they fucking have, and it fucking tastes like full on.
My personal favorite, the cowboy cookie and the peanut butter cookie that's got like the Reese cup in it. The cowboy cookie is at a whole nother level.
Listen, I'm not even vegan, and my favorite thing there is their vegan pecan fudge bar, I think what it's called, and I will dream about that. It's fucking insane. So if you're like in the surrounding area, you should definitely give it a try.
And for those of my folks, they'll typically they might around St. Charles. Like I know a lot of
it's such a good area.
My family, my friends, they were from the area where I was from the city. Just drive straight up North Avenue to go fishing in St. Charles. Yes. It's literally the
And you guys, like, if you're going to go there and visit, there's so many other amazing restaurants there. You could walk up and down 3rd Street, and there's bars, restaurants, there's a cigar shop, like, there's anything. It's like pizza places for kids, ice cream places. Like, you can legit spend the whole fucking day there if you feel like it's, a little far from you. Like, make it worth it because all that shit out there is fucking fresh.
Yeah, it's such a great place. Like I said, a little great area. But no, like I said, once again, I cannot say shout outs to them enough because Yeah, last year she went on a cake, and then this year we collaborated again, and I just kind of give her the direction and just blows it out of the fucking water. So
good.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, the birthday recap was awesome. We were able to go ahead and we rented out the movie theater. Literally rented out the movie theater
that
to see
was so
Boogie.
fun. Oh, Boogie was so good. I really enjoyed that movie. Shout outs to the fellow Asians. But not only that, like, it was a legit good fucking movie. You know, based in New York, and
yeah,
you
the
know,
whole
shows,
Asian
like,
culture,
the culture,
Eddie
like,
Huang. For those of you who are not familiar with Eddie Huang, we actually got hip to Eddie on Vice, but this is like his big directorial debut, and he's real good at. Even though he had the little show Fresh Off the Boat, but that was more of a collaboration thing on his life. But this one he's directed.
That was a funny show too, though.
And what I respect about him is that he's trying to break those barriers for the Asian community. You know, it's the barriers of like, oh, you're eating Chinese food, I must be dog. Oh, you Chinaman, you must be accountant. You know, da 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 da. Like, and he's like, no, we're just more than all that. And this,
we're fucking amazing. Okay, like
I
hearing,
I second that. So basically, what he does is Boogie is a basketball player, and he's breaking the mold. You know, you don't see a lot of Asian basketball players, and he's in New York. He's got a little swagger to him. You know, he's got, you know,
cool kid, like stylish. You know, in with the women.
Yeah, it's typically a movie that Hollywood, like when I start thinking, like we were watching that documentary, I can remember where they were talking about how Hollywood would just typecast people in their, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
When we're watching the Bruce Lee, and they were saying like they want him like Karate Man, Chinaman, Chinaman, Chinaman. He's like, I'm more than this Chinaman character that Hollywood's painting me out to be. With the, you know, they would put the buck tooth on him with the little hair, with the ponytail. He's like, no. And I think fucking Eddie did it. Like, that's something that if Bruce Lee was alive today, Bruce Lee would be fucking
I think it showed just like a lot of cool and kind of funny and quirky parts of the Asian culture. Like, I legit was watching it and was like, oh my god, that's me. That's me. Am I the mom? Is that me?
Oh, his mom definitely.
I don't think I'm that extreme.
Big angel.
But I don't think I'm that extreme. But I do feel like, you know, I like we've talked in other episodes, like the pressure is kind of like on when it comes to Asians and school and doing well. And I was like watching myself in that fucking movie.
So you had a couple of different characters where you could definitely have angel as characters, but like I said, we had the theater rented out with all our good friends. Then we ended up going to eat at the restaurant with all our friends, and our oldest son and his friends, and it was definitely a real good week. You and I were able to do our little thing Friday night where I took you out downtown to go get a restaurant at Oven Chicago Pizza Company, Oven Grinder. That's a mouthful. Just like their food.
I was just gonna say, their food.
You base that upon
you guys, just really quick, if you don't know about this, like their pizza, they put the cheese and the toppings and all that shit like at the bottom of a bowl, and then they cook it with like the dough on the top, and then when they get to when it's done, they get to your table and they literally like flip it around, and then that's how you eat it. It's fucked up. It's like a whole fucking bowl of shit, and it's just good. It's really fucking. It's like an experience.
Was phenomenal. For those of you who follow us on our personal social media.
But what about like the history behind it? Like, I didn't know there was like, you know, historical pictures up on the wall, and of course, like, I'm not a big history buff. He is, so I was like, hey, look at this. What's this about?
There's a couple different things that got going on there, but the one big one that sticks out to me in particular was that's the building that literally faces what was across the street from it was where the St. Valentine's Day massacre took place, which was a big mafia thing here in Chicago where they ended up lining up the rival crew and lit them up on St. Valentine's Day. That thing made world news. So, and there was like a little rumor within a little bio that said apparently, because this is located, it looks like a house, basically. It is a house. It's in the basement area, and
it looks like a dark woodsy basement.
Yeah, straight out of the 20s. And they said basically that house was, the lookout spot for the guys that are waiting for that other crew to show up to like, okay, cool, they're there, let's cross the street.
That's some cool shit. Like, I'm not very knowledgeable about much. We've talked about that before too. But like, that's kind of cool shit to hear about.
That whole Al Capone era, it's got some awesome. I've always been a big fan. Granted, I know he has a body of work that's not very well and people lost lives, but he was one of those very interesting characters that, you know, out of Chicago during that time when there was the Prohibition, the mob was kicking in big, and that's like when I first used to start to go to Portillo's and see all the mob memorabilia in those places. It's always fascinated me. It's just a crazy history of how they operated and how they policed their own neighborhoods and the way they did things. at that time, you know. So
yeah,
interesting.
It was really a good time. We had some good times this birthday, for his birthday, for my birthday. But it's funny, like with our older son Martin, his birthday, the teens are weird. We were with like at least I think like 6 to 8 of his friends, mostly boys, one girl. But teens are weird now. Like they're I went to take a picture of them. I think like every single one of them was on their phone. I'm like, you guys, just put it down for a second. Can you just give me one smile? I promise, like, I won't bother you ever again. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah, they're
just
like,
look at my game profile picture. Look at my Roblox character that I created and use that as my photo.
It's fucking weird.
It's just, the
times the times in the teens right now are it's a different era. Shit is just different with them. You know, I don't know.
It is different. I know everybody's been beating that like a dead horse. Like what I've seen people start posting stuff online where they're like, my era played outside until the lights came on. My era got their knees scraped. And I get it. We're definitely in a different era where technology is more prevalent. The access, being able to access so many different digital things.
So too accessible almost.
Yeah, but you lose a sight of the original face-to-face conversation. And I was having this conversation, a matter of fact, with my homeboy Easy from Skull and Thrones, my brother from another mother right there. He was cutting up both the boys' haircuts because we're getting ready for vacation this week. And we're talking, and Martin's sitting in the chair slouched with his back slouched. And, and he's trying to talk to me. He's like, hey, you got to look up. And he literally tells him everything. I tell him, like, I think it's just this generation slouches because they're on their phone, they're leaning down, they're not really, paying attention. There's no eye contact. Everybody they talk to is either some form of chat messenger or on an online chat in the game. And he's like, fuck, man, it's a different time, And I never knocked, like, when there's things growing in technology. I'm a big fan of technology, but, yeah, I try to tell my son, like, some of the basic essence you can't lose, and that's communicating face-to-face, a conversation where I look you in the eyes.
Just to make it in life in general, like, whether it's in school now, in college, in whatever, career he chooses afterwards, regardless, you still need those skills. Like, you also need social media and all that stuff, but you kind of have to know the difference between reality and that, and like how to manage that. And I think, I don't know, I hope that is like a class that maybe they create at some point or another, because I don't feel like every kid is different. I think our older one specifically like has a hard time juggling all that social media stuff. What's real, what's not, what information can I put up out there, what can I not, like he doesn't quite
it's something
get
and you and I've had this conversation when our oldest had a little situation that took place with social media, and it's one of those things where
there's been so many situations I don't even know which one you're talking about.
It's like you want to give them a little bit because you don't want to be that parent, because their friends are on their Snapchats or Instagrams or what have you. But at the same token, like, their little brains are still fragile for that much interaction. I take it back to when we talked about watching that movie.
They're still ignorant to so many things in the world.
Yeah, it's like, you could, as an adult, you can only take so much. You can only take so many comments or so many people saying shit to you. So you have a younger person that still doesn't understand life or doesn't grasp what's going on with life. And then you give them these tools to interact with somebody from, Florida, somebody from New York, somebody from California, from Europe, and it's like where you wouldn't have had that access on your neighborhood, because like my neighborhood, I only knew people on my block. Literally, on my block was all you knew. If you crossed over to the other blocks, that was the other neighborhood, and they were territorial. So it's like you knew everybody in your block. Where now you're like, wait a second, I'm giving you the keys to the world.
Yeah, like that one day he was on the phone talking to someone. We're like, oh, who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, I think it was Jack or something or other. I'm like, oh, who's Jack? What grade is he? And is he like same grade as you? Blah blah whatever. Oh well, he's my friend from online. So it's just some kid he's never met. Like, cool. Like, you're meeting kids like in different states, and where maybe you wouldn't meet otherwise. Obviously in normal times, our times maybe, but like. Also it's just, again, you like have to be so careful as to who you talk to, who you share information with, who you just never know. Like, is it Jack or is it someone who sounds like a Jack but is like an older man, or like age 52. Something weird. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to get out. Like, you just don't know, which kind of like.
No, and that particular kid I recall was we made him like FaceTime and we seen him, because I was just like, wait a second, because he was like, oh, my friend Jack says this is my friend. I'm like, and I'm thinking again local, and he's like, oh no, he lives in Florida. And I'm like, and then again, these kids are so trusting and they're willing to open the door without realizing, like, well, that's my good friend. I'm like, how's that a good friend?
Yeah, because they say, oh, cool, social media. Oh, cool. Like, this is it. Like, we have to tell them, like, be careful. Like, when he had an Instagram, he would get, like, all the group messages that you get with, like, all the sexy
Spam,
girls and blah, blah, blah. And he'd, like, message back, you know, saying whatever. Like, don't message me or, you know, something. I'm like,
hey, stop sending me this. And I'm just like, oh,
you
my
don't
God.
know who you're messaging. Like, that's probably some robot
bot,
or whatever. You know, which kind of, in a weird segue to this, like, I was talking to one of my girlfriends today, actually, and we were talking about kind of social media, but also more in the, like, growing up in different times and, like, how do I say this? Kids see everything online now. Like you said, like, everything is so accessible. Porn, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it comes like it comes flying at you, you know what I mean? And we were talking about, you know, seeing porn, like, as a kid, whether, you know, a girl, a boy, whatever. Like, you see all that stuff. You guys, like, that shit isn't real. Can we just, like, normalize that shit isn't real? Like, yeah, it's a fantasy and all those things are cool, but, like, when you're a kid and you're watching it, like, you're like, oh yeah, excuse me, like, he's just, like, fucking, like, banging her out or something like that. You guys, like, girls don't just, like, you're just, like, banging the fuck out of a girl or a guy or whatever, and you're
whispering though.
And you're, because I don't want the kid, I don't want the kids to hear, you know, I'm just being
banging and fucking.
I know, because the kids are downstairs, okay? Anyways, trying to be a good mom here. But, you know, you see that as a kid, and then you think, when you grow up and have your first experience or whatever, and she specifically was telling me, she's like, you know, I had my first, you know, lost your virginity, and she probably didn't have her first orgasm until maybe like 5-6 years later. Because those are the things that, like, are kind of, like, said but not said. Like, you see these things in porn or on social media and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, that's just how you come. Like, you know, this guy's banging you or whatever, and you're like, boom, you know. But you're like, you don't even know what that is. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like, you know, what do you call them? The scenes? When you tell
now there's scenes. When I was younger, there was an actual, like, porno movie. Like, there was a plot, there was a story with characters. Now it's just a scene.
Right.
It's the mother sees stepson sees stepsister, blah, 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 fucks, whatever. Like, it's just a scene. That's it. Like, these are full-on fucking movies, and now we're in a
But when you were younger and watched those things, you're like, okay, that's kind of
No, here's the crazy. When I was younger, like, the first of it, looking at any of it, was in a magazine. An old school paper magazine.
So that's all you saw.
I still remember that magazine.
And that's, like, as a boy.
And that was one of the more graphic ones.
That's as a boy how you learn to, like, masturbate or whatever.
And then you got, if you were lucky during that time when cable was starting to come up, and if you could go to the Spice or whatever was the other network, and you could kind of see a little bit of the... And then if you had someone that was lucky enough to have a hot box, black box, which is basically illegal cable, and they had those channels you got into, you're like, oh. And again, and it was just regular, like that.
But when you finally got to watch porn, wherever it was, internet, you know, black box, whatever, like, in your brain, you were like, oh yeah, so that's how, like, you make a girl happy and whatever. And then maybe...
I don't even think I thought... I'll be honest with you. I don't think the first thought in my head was like, oh, that's how you...
Well, yeah, because you're trying to please yourself. Yeah, I get that.
Well, no, you're just looking at a chick and you're like, oh my god, look at the boobs. Oh my god, look at the this. Oh my god, that's what that does? Oh my god, that opens up like that?
But then you don't realize, like, okay, there's, you know... There's different ways and certain things you have to do.
I don't think I ever looked and was like, oh, that's how the girl, you know, make sure she's good. Like, it's just always been...
But then how would you know how to make, you know, how to make a girl finish, you know?
No, you just don't.
You just don't. See what I mean? You just don't.
You don't. You just kind of, when you're in the middle of that.
And that's so not okay, because the guy will almost always finish, okay? Because I feel like it's easier... Again, I think it's one of those things that are unsaid. Like, it's easier for a guy to finish, where it's not for a girl. And then, like, you grow up and you're like, something's wrong with me. I can't do it. Like, whatever. But, like, no, there's certain spots you gotta hit. Okay? And it's higher than you think. Okay? It's not the higher. If you think it's here, higher. Just in case, go a little higher. Oh my God, I was watching this TikTok the other day, and I didn't know where it was going at first.
Of course.
But the girl was like,
"No, you won't." ¿Por qué? Ay, Dios mío.
But this girl was like, this is for the guy. It was one of those like, these are for the guys, and if you're not a guy, you could just keep scrolling or something like to that effect. But of course I kept going. I kept watching because I was like, what is she talking about?
Like, fuck this
and
bitch.
she's
I'm
like,
gonna watch.
And she was like, I know you guys who are not watching YouTube can't see this, but she was like, you guys, this, not this, not this. And I was like, yes, spot the fuck on. But again, like, you don't find that out until maybe you're with someone that's like, you know what, please don't do it like that, do it like this, but again, it's just like with those growing things, but then you just see these things, going back to what we said, like, as a teen, and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna, like, have my first, like, I'm gonna lose my virginity, and this is how it's gonna be, and the girl's gonna love it when I do it like this, and then this poor girl who's, like, losing her virginity is like, stop, pineapples, you know what I mean, like, that's fucking rough.
Does everybody say for pineapples for some reason?
I feel like that's known, right? That's a known thing. Like, pineapples is a safe word. It's from Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, maybe not everyone needs. Okay, everyone has their safe word. Like, if your partner is doing something kind of weird sexually, and you're like, it's too far, then you just yell a safe word. Maybe you just decide.
I just go like this. I'm like, no, don't. Don't. Why'd you hit me in the head?
I guess no.
No.
Just in the middle of it. No. So, anyways.
I mean,
that's all I got for that.
That's
we just had this weird conversation. And I was like, oh my God, because you know how I think it started? I was talking about one of the gym pages I'm on, workout pages. And there was some girls saying like, my workouts have me so crazy tired. They're super intense that like sometimes even at the end of the night I'm just like, fuck it, no, I don't want to do it. And then there's women who are like, no, I have to have like sex 6-7 times a week, blah blah blah.
Nice.
And I was like, I don't believe that. And I was talking about it with my girlfriend. Like, I feel like people, listen, if your sex drive is that high, more power to you. But sometimes I feel like that's a front. That's a fucking front. Like, that's not real. Like, maybe when, you first meet and you're dating, you're just like fucking like rabbits all the time or something like that. But like, when you're married, you got shit going on, you got work, you got kids, and at the end of the night, you're like, nah. Like, it'd be nice, but nah, not today. Or like, you do it that one night and you're both really happy, right? You're like happy, we're both happy, like, check in with me in a couple days. We'll check in.
Check in with you in a couple days.
Check in with me a couple days. We're gonna hit that again. But tell me if I'm wrong or right. Like, then you're like, we're good for a couple days. Snuggle, spend time with each other. We had some good stuff, and then you're like, cool. Maybe we do it a couple days in a row. But in general, when people are like, we're just like fucking for like first of all, you're not fucking for 2-3 hours. It's a fucking lie, okay? Because if you're fucking for 2-3 hours, or if we ever did that, which never happened because 15 minutes, like, please get off me. But like, if you were, I'd be like, what is wrong with me? Are you not turned on? Am I not sexy? It's like way better off when you're like, I'm like, oh my God, that was too fast. Like, but yeah, I know. That's why.
No, typically
I feel good about myself,
this is good, and then I look at you and I'm like, well, your Uber should be here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Or I wake up in the morning.
And then 2 seconds later, it's this.
I look over at you.
I'm like, great, now I'm wide ass awake.
Or what happens is I wake up in the morning and I turn over and I'm like, oh, you're still here. And I've been saying that like the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's been long. Can't get rid of me now.
Speaking of things in the bedroom.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you have something to talk about?
Yes, I do. As you guys already know, Bona Fide Bullshit the Podcast has partnered up with Manscaped. Support for Bona Fide Bullshit the Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Who's the best men's below-the-waist grooming? Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Ain't that the truth?
The lawnmower, though.
Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. I'm only 2 million men.
And women. I trust it since you trust it.
Yeah. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners. 20% off plus free shipping with the code BONA at manscaped.com. Once again, use the promo code BONA at manscaped.com.
You had me at free shipping.
Free shipping
because once the shipping comes on, I'm like, exit.
So, I mean, that's 20% and free shipping. And I know some people think like, oh, you're hawking. No. I'm legit. Look, this is the first time I got with Manscaped. And inside is my old school.
And let me just add, you guys,
The old school one,
he
right?
signed up for Manscaped. I don't know, it's just like a year and a half.
2 years.
2 years ago.
Yeah, this is the original right here.
And at first when he signed up, I was like, what the fuck kind of subscription are you signing up for? You are ridiculous. And then it came and I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
I did
cleans up well. Now this is the 2.0, so like I said, I'm an OG user of the original, the 2.0.
I prefer the LED, you know what I mean?
This is
Dark
the lawnmower. They call this the lawnmower 3.0. Got a light there for a little sense direction. Nick free. I mean, you're comfortable around that very sensitive area of yours, and it'll keep you nice and clean. So like when you used to watch those movies and you see the guy all shaven, he probably was itching afterwards. That's back in the day. You don't got none of that business.
Or
now.
Back in the day, it was just full on bush, and they needed the lawnmower.
Full on bush, and you don't want to be like one of those guys from back in the day.
You don't want to. It's not in right now.
My experience with the lawnmower 3.0 has been phenomenal. Not that I gotta be, you know,
it needs to be
day,
tight,
but,
you know, like a
keep it nice and clean,
like a number one fade kind of thing, you know.
I keep it clean. So once again, folks, make sure you guys use that promo code BONA for your 20% off and your free shipping at manscaped.com.
And that's it.
That's the way it goes. But yeah, I mean, the other thing I wanted to mention to some of our folks before we start slowing things down and wrap it out of here is obviously in this podcast, we talk about everything. As you saw, we'll talk passionate about stuff when it comes to sex, family, life, everything.
It goes astray real fast. It could go from family and love to obviously sex porn all the way to religion. So yeah. It's really a little bit of
nothing is too taboo.
It's legit all the bullshit in life. Everything in between. We want to talk about it. We want to hear about it. And I just like talking about everything. I'm glad we're like that. And you know, right now I know we're currently in a landscape where I'm not going to get too much detail. Like I said, these are always conversations where I always tell folks, hey, you guys want to message me? You guys want to video call me an angel and you want to talk one-on-one about things? I'm always down for that. And I know recently people have kind of been speaking out because we seem like we're in a real big brash of just cancel culture activity. You know, where people are just bonding together, whether it's Eminem's old lyrics or it's Dr. Seuss. I honestly didn't even know what that terminology meant.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just because it's a culture where they're just trying to cancel everything out and go back and
because
retro
everyone's
things.
like offended by stuff that
so hurt, you know,
came out this and long ago.
You're a bully, and you're just, and it's like, yeah, this is so long ago, you know. And like I said, I'm not gonna get into the meat and potatoes of like each scenario that's recently popped because this week has been
like the
3 or 4.
Dr. Seuss. I honestly didn't even know.
That's another one.
I didn't know why they
Pepe
were.
Le Pew now.
Why they were
fucking Pepe Le Pew.
I didn't know why they were canceling Dr. Seuss. Honestly.
Again, it's because there was a certain things that were said in his book that has to do with certain things where people feel like, no, you shouldn't do that, or that shouldn't be said, and that shouldn't be read. And it's, you know, to me personally as a kid, like I never felt as a book like that was offensive. To me, Eminem's lyrics were rap lyrics. I never felt offensive. Now I know I'm looking at that through the lens, I should say, not telescope, through the lens as a male. But it's like, it was just enjoyable at that time. It was enjoyable music. And I just feel people just getting real soft over stuff when there's so many other things. There's so many countries that are really, you know, hurting and they have major things going on. And we're here in the land of the free. It's like the freedom of speech, you know what I mean? And
but I do feel like certain things like that, like the whole Dr. Seuss, whatever. It's like we grew up reading that, watching that, whatever the case, and our innocent minds didn't grasp onto that. So whether it's there or not, like why not keep the innocence of the children still, so they could have like, you know, the same, if not similar, experience that we had.
It's that old thing, like you ever see the video with the little black kid and the little white kid, and they're like run up to each other, see each other, haven't seen each other in a while, and they hug because they don't know no color boundaries. And my mom was like that with me when I was growing up. It wasn't like that's this, that's this, that's that. It's not till you get older again and you're out of your home,
right? Where
people are safety. So to me, I don't rely on Dr. Seuss. I don't rely on Eminem. I don't rely on Warner Brothers and Pepe Le Pew or any of those other programs to raise my kids. I'm raising my kids at home. So people that are out there like, well, you got to get rid of that. Well, then you just don't show them that. Because in turn, you got a song like WAP, which is the number one song, and you got mothers and daughters singing that shit. Little girls saying, you know, wet ass pussy.
Right.
And it's just,
like
whatever, to me, it's music. Like,
the kids reading the Dr. Seuss books will just hear the rhymes and the fun words.
Yeah,
but like,
they're not thinking like, oh my God.
They're not going to know any better unless you tell them. Like, unless you're like, oh, you know what he's really talking about here, or what this means.
Or you know what they're really not mentioning, or you know how they're really not showcasing. To each your own,
like maybe one person sees that and maybe one person doesn't, but like, I don't know. I mean, that's just me as a parent. Like,
I get so passionate because I'm like, to me, I'm not relying on those fucking objects or those things to raise my kids. Like, I'm gonna raise my kid at home. So that example I'm telling you, like I started to share with you guys, like with my mom, it wasn't like it was just an open format place, and you just didn't single people out. It's not till you get older, you see a certain set of friends or certain set of people where they introduce you to certain words, certain derogatory things about people, because that shit wasn't said in my house. Like, my house was you know, a Spanish family with a mixed neighborhood. Our neighborhood had black, it had white, it had everything, all walks of life in the city. So it's not until you get into other groups where you start learning and leaning on things.
I just think it's such a bummer that things are like that, you know, now. Like, I get it, it's more, you know, in the forefront now, and people are very sensitive to it, as I think we all can be towards our own cultures. But I think, you know, to bring it to that extent sometimes, it's like, I don't know, it's like, I think there's a fine line between teaching kids about, you know, being sensitive to whether it's your own culture and other people's, and then to be completely offended and immediately enraged, you know, whether it's a certain topic, a book, a person, whomever, you know, like, yeah. I don't know, like, there's so many people in this world, and to like not run into one person who, you know, is not racist or is a different religion or whatever, like, we could be okay with each other and not, you know, believe in what we all have, you know.
It's like when you were born, you know what I mean? I mean, when an individual was born, and I use, you know, for lack of a better word, and I'm not gonna say what the word is, but you know, when they're saying the N word with the, you know, what it ends in, and when they're born, they don't come out the womb saying that. It's someone around them that was saying it, and someone around them was acting like that, and they absorbed that. You know, so like that shit starts at home. But yeah, I just wanted to touch a little base on that. Like I said, because this podcast we're a no holds bar. Obviously, you see what we just, from the subjects we started with today to the way we ended, and not to end it on like no sad serious
I talk
note,
about
just
porn.
keep it real note.
I talk about porn. You talk about serious life business. It's just how it is.
And it's just one great mix, and that's why we're always bullshit with each other here every Wednesdays.
That's right. So tune in to all our fucking bullshit ass shenanigans.
Hey, and we're heading on vacation, so stay tuned with us. We'll be out of town. Finally enjoying a little bit of sun. We'll be out next week, or
shout out to Florida. We'll be in Florida.
We'll be out in Florida. So once again, everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us each and every week, rocking out with us here on your favorite podcast platforms, as well as here on YouTube. Make sure you guys check all our social media platforms out. You can follow us at Bona Fide _BS on your favorite social media platform.
Till next week, people. Peace out, bitches.